Then, if knight takes, sacrificing the knight, then queen takes, and now bishop here is literally up into the queen. If you take, I'm just gonna take your queen, and I'm gonna win. And if bishop to b4, and if you do something else, and if not taking the bishop, then he will just take your queen anyway. There is a smaller mate to make smaller mate happen. Is literally queen to f1, trying to sack your own queen. And if you take, you're gonna get your queen smaller mate. But except that didn't happen. Bobby Fischer protects everything and then takes the rook, which is now Bobby Fischer is winning, and that is checkmate. Hello everybody, and welcome to another very special video. And because also what makes this game special is the long known Bobby Fischer, which is the best player known in the earth. You know, no, not the best player, but we got Magnus Carlsen, who is the best player. Never mind, what am I doing? And his opponent Donald Byrne, and this is the 20th game of the century. So let's start. What are we waiting for? We got even Bobby Fischer here with the dark black pieces, which makes him at a disadvantage to not make the first move. So we got knight to f3, developing a knight, developing a piece, nothing wrong there. And then we got knight to f6, doing the same but with the black pieces. And then now we got pawn to f4, it becomes the English opening. And then we got pawn to g6, knight to c3, developing another piece. Good, I mean, it develops just another piece, back spot in the future. So we got bishop to g7, trying to develop the bishop. And now we got this very long diagonal. If this knight moves over, and this black castling to save, now the queen and the rook connect together. For white goes queen to b3, trying to attack and pressure that pawn more thrice. So we got 6 and take, and that makes the queen very exposed. Pawn to c6, defending that pawn at last. We got knight to d7, and literally what that does, it blocks the bishop from developing. But they're grandmasters, so there's nothing to worry about this knight move. Maybe there's some deep calculating that would nuke the king up quickly. I don't really know. But anyways, rook to d1, nothing special, normal move, nothing to worry about it. And now, literally, Bobby Fischer attacks the queen, tries to attack on early, and try to develop this bishop by opening up that knight to attack on that queen. To literally just open up the bishop and develop the bishop. He did develop the bishop. He didn't just develop the bishop and pin the knight to the rook. So if the knight moves, then the rook will be taken. And now, bishop to g5 is a mistake. Are not all developed yet, while Bobby Fischer has developed. What do you do when you have so much development? Look for attacks. And that's what Bobby Fischer does. He attacks, but yet in the most powerful way possible, by sacrificing the knight on a4. If white takes right here, that undefends the pawn on e4. If the pawn is undefended on e4, then the black knight can just take it. So he takes it. And when knight takes, he attacks the bishop. And anything like queen to b4, there is nothing good about that. Because if black takes and takes and takes and takes, all is up on material, all is equal on material. That trade, Donald Byrne sacrificed for the fact that this tactic and this pin is so powerful that Donald Byrne didn't even to take that knight sacrifice. So he didn't take the knight sacrifice. Instead, what he did is queen to a3, trying to pressure that knight more. We got knight here, and literally what that does, if white takes like he did, then black can just take the pawn because it became undefended when he traded with a knight. Knight takes e4 is a very great move, and now bishop can just take, which Donald Byrne did take with a4. How can Bobby Fischer survive this? He survives this like a true genius. He literally just goes queen to b6, and if you take, the bishop takes, and that attacks the queen. It's very dangerous for Donald Byrne to make a mistake here, because if something like here, trying to defend that pawn still from defending that knight on e4 over there on attacking that pawn on c3 and defending that pawn, then if knight takes, sacrificing the knight, then queen takes, and now bishop here is literally up into the queen. If you take, I'm just gonna take your queen and I'm gonna win. And if bishop to b4, and if you do something else, and if not taking the bishop, then he will just take your queen anyway, and he will be just plus more points than when you just take the bishop a while ago. So what instead happened? Donald Byrne didn't fall for the trick, didn't just take the rook, and instead goes bishop to c4. And now look at this synchronization. Over here, all of the bishop are staring at their rook and literally cannot be taken, which is insane. And literally went for another great move, knight to c3, the knight sacrifice. If you take the knight, rook to e8, pinning that bishop to the king. If you move your bishop, your king is gonna get taken. And if queen to a3, then it's just lost hope for the bishop, because queen to c7, and now you cannot do anything about that bishop. And if you do anything like knight here, then it's all game over, because he's gonna take your bishop, and Bobby Fischer will be plus 1 point for that. Donald Byrne therefore cannot take for the 4th time, which is another insane move. We got bishop to c5, attacks the queen. Literally, Bobby Fischer doesn't go and literally wants to trade with the queen. He doesn't want just to go back down. He literally fights back with danger levels and attacks the king with check. He has to move the king and not take the queen, and so that he has to move the king or else it will be taken. And now, you can take this rook, right? No, you cannot take that rook because of your queen being hanged. So you need to guard that first. But he didn't even guard it. What he did was a very brilliant move. Bishop to e6. Why? Bishop to e6. If you take, this is a brilliant move. You cannot take the bishop, but you can take the queen. That is insane, right? If you take the bishop, you cannot just simply take, because you'll lose your queen. The key move here is again, queen to b5, attacks the king. You cannot go here because that's mate from the queen over there, and so therefore he must go here. The knight must move, and the king cannot block because it's a knight, and therefore he must go king to f1. This is known as a windmill. And now we got knight to g3. Double check. You cannot take the knight because the king will be taken. And so we have knight here and queen here, and and over here, I'm warning you guys, there is a smothered mate coming, an epic smothered mate. So he has to move the king here and not take the knight because he will take the king. And so the key move here to make smother mate happen is literally queen to f1, trying to sack your own queen. And if you take, you're gonna get your queen smothered mate. But except that didn't happen. That literally just didn't happen. Instead, what happened is literally just Donald Byrne not even taking the bishop, but taking the queen, which is very tempting to do. We get to this windmill where we got bishop to c4, and with check, we get another windmill, but with a bishop this time. So we got king to c2, and then with the same sequence, we got here. Except there is no checkmate though, because it isn't a queen. Knight takes d4, and it checks the king, so he must move the king again. And yet after that, he checks him again with the same sequence, and if the knight moves again, he can just check him again, and now therefore the king should move, or else the king will die. Bobby Fischer can do simply whatever he wants. Even here, a fork happened, not even in the windmill, and literally he just takes the bishop, attacks the queen, and also attacks the rook. It's a fork. You cannot take the knight because of this big range bishop. And we got queen to b4, attacking that knight and that bishop, but still, rook to a4 here is the key move, because that still attacks the queen, that protects the bishop from being taken, and that is still the fork to the queen and the rook, which is insane. White just takes a pawn, and finally, Bobby Fischer protects everything, and then takes the rook, which is now Bobby Fischer is winning by 3-point material, which is the equivalent of a knight or a bishop. And watch as how Bobby Fischer with the knight, rook, bishop, and bishop versus the queen and rook and knight converts this game. We got rook to a2, king to h2, and then we got knight takes f2, rook to a1, attacking that rook and concealing a trade between the rooks. Donald Byrne checks and pokes whatever he wants to do and tries to win this game and draw it out of the game. But instead of that, we get a trade and then a bishop to d5. Black checks. You should move here. Bobby Fischer takes another check, and then the king moves again, and then Bobby Fischer takes the check with a bishop this time, and then the king moves again, and Bobby Fischer takes another check, and then king moves again, and we got knight to e2 trying to check that, and you must move here, and we go knight to c3 taking that king. You must go over to c1, king here, and finally the mate, and with the rook he checkmate him on the face. And you cannot go here, here because of the rook and knight, and you cannot take the rook because of the fact the bishop, and that is checkmate. and this is the game of the century ended in this video. And that is the last game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you press the like button if you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe to motivate me to make more videos like this. And there's 2 links, community Discord, and also where I live stream, which is Twitch. And yeah, I think that's it. Peace out.